live in the building. Yes, we are. We live. So what are we talking about today? We talking about hardship as preparation. So if you're going through a difficult time, if you're going through a challenging time, I want today to change your perspective, your perception on that difficulty and that hardship. See, the one thing that we have to understand is that God is in it all. God is taking us somewhere. You see, we are to follow God. So God is leading us somewhere. There is not a moment of our life that's going to be wasted. There's not a moment of our time that he will not use. See, the word says all will be used for the good, all of it. So we can't just take the good, we have to take the bad, because the one thing we got to learn is the bad is preparation so that we can not only step into, but be able to maintain the good. So I am Miss Jennifer. I am a minister of God. I am a prisoner of God. I do what God tells me to do. I go where God tells me to go. And when I have trouble with that, when I have difficulty with that, baby, I just lean into him and I ask him for help. And even in times when I don't, because I'm like, I can't, God. God has his way. He has his way of wooing me back in so that I continue to serve him and be in relationship with him. So let's go into scripture, right? We're going to be talking about Matthew chapter 20, verse 21. And let's start with verse 20. It says, "Then the mother of Zebedee's son came to Jesus with her sons, and kneeling down asked a favor of him. 'What is it you want?' he asked. She said, 'Grant that one of these two sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom.' You don't know what you are asking." Jesus said to them, "Can you drink the cup I am going to drink?" You don't know what you're asking. Can you drink the cup that I am going to drink? See, some of us are asking for great and mighty things. Some of us are trying to do what's never been done before. We are desiring to partner with God to do the things his disciples do. Oh, to heal the sick, to raise the dead, to know him for real, to be really used of him. Some of us are like, I gotta break out of cycles. I gotta see the new thing. I gotta see a new me. I gotta figure out what this thing is about. See, some of us, we have such a press, such an urgency, such a desire to become all that God desires us to become, to live into, walk out the thing that God has for us. Do you know what it is that you're asking? God is like, I do. I know what you're asking for. Let me prepare you for it. See, when you understand, when you come to terms with, I'm asking for this and God is responding, then we tend to look at things with not from what's happening around me. Oh my goodness, it is, I made a request to God. God is responding. God will never leave me or forsake me. So whenever things are occurring around me, I need to go to God and I need to seek what's going on. Again, I've mentioned this before, but what we don't need is for God to remove the hardship. We don't need additional resources. What we need is revelation. What we need is understanding and clarity of what God is doing in this moment. You see, you may be frustrated with the hard. You may be frustrated with the difficult. You may be struggling with the challenges of today. See, you may feel like it's been back to back to back. And I want to ask you, has that been the case? Has it been when you look back on your life, maybe this past month, maybe this past 6 months, maybe this past year, maybe these past couple of years? Have you looked back on your life and you like, man, it's been one thing after another, one thing after another. And even today, right now, right, you find yourself in this situation where it's like, there's even more of being asked of you. And you're like, what is going on? I don't understand. What you need to understand is the new hard thing that you are experiencing now, it's because you've passed all of the other hard things. It's not a woe is me moment. It's a celebration, a congratulations. See, I know don't nobody want to hear that. Don't nobody want to be in a fight of their life and hear congratulations. This is your reward from being able to endure, withstand, and overcome the other fights you've had. But when you're a fighter and you accept the fact that you are a fighter, that you are born to fight, and that's what you do, and that's the expectation. Once when you get out of a fight, you know another fight is coming, and you even know in the midst of a fight, there's another fight coming after that because it's who you are as a fighter. See, once when you understand that God is using the hard things to grow you, to develop you, you understand that once when you get through a hard thing, the next hard thing is coming your way. You see, here's the thing. When you get to a point where God has given you hard, listen to this. You got to catch this right here. When you get to a point where the thing God has given you is difficult, is challenging, is hard, you begin to navigate that thing. You begin to no longer resist that thing. You start learning how to navigate that thing. You pray into that thing. You start adjusting to that thing. That thing now, you're used to it. Now you're at a point where you can start not just praying into that thing, but showing gratitude into that thing. God, let me be grateful for what I do have. Not only that, I'm about to start worshiping in this thing. Yeah. Once when you get to that point and you start feeling, it's not that the situation has changed. It's that your mindset has changed. Your way of looking at it has changed. Now you're not resisting. You're not fighting it anymore. You're leaning into it. And not only are you leaning into it, you're leaning into God. Once when you're at that point, all you're doing is telling God that you're ready for the next hard thing because you've learned the lesson. So now what was once hard for you is now easy for you. It's not a challenge for you. So what all did you learn in that process? It's what God was trying to teach you. So now he's able to bring you to the next hard thing. Again, this is God's gym. Once when you get to a weight where you're pushing that thing up with no problem, okay, there's no sense for me to keep you here because you're not growing here. I need to be able to grow you. So now I need to be able to increase the weight. See, once when you understand that, y'all, it's mind blowing because then it's like, it's not a woe is me thing. It's God is doing something with me. God is trying to build me up. God is trying to train me. And he's doing that through difficulty, through hardship, because growth happens in the discomfort. That's when you get to dig beyond what you have readily available at the surface. This is what challenge means. Challenge does not mean I tap into what's right beneath the surface. Challenge is when I have to go to places and dig where I don't even know stuff exists. And I got to be able to pull up. I got to be able to extract and expose what I never knew what was there. You see, that's how I grow. That's how I expand in this thing, because I'm willing to uncover new aspects of my being. Do you understand? This is how I now grow. It's not that it wasn't there. It needed to be exposed and it needed to be developed. And God will have you do that in hardship, because it's in the hardship that you begin digging for that. You see, you don't need to dig. You don't need to do that hard work of digging and excavation when things are easy. Why? I got that. It's already readily available. You see, the search is not on. See, there are times where God will have you dig so far and exhaust all that's within you. So now the only thing that you can do is seek now, not just anything of your flesh, not just anything of the natural, but you have to completely surrender to the Holy Spirit within. This is what God is desiring you to do. See, this is the beauty of hardship. This is the beauty of challenge. So once when you have gotten through a difficult time, a hard time, God is like, okay, I need to bring you into the next hard time. What else you gonna do? You gonna sit here on easy street and kick your feet up in luxury and comfort? There's nothing that's happening there but your chill. Your destiny does not require your chill. Your destiny requires your surrender. And people don't surrender and wave up the white flag easily. Yeah, it's in the process of this hardship. It's in the process of suffering. It's in the process of realizing I don't have. That surrender takes place. And God is trying to take you into different greater levels of surrender, because it's going to be what you need. You see, when we get through this hardship and we receive more hardship, we tend to ask God, we like, why? Why can't I just be good? And God is like, I love you too much to keep you there. Do you know my hands are on you? Do you know my presence is all over you? I am personally training. I am personally building you up. I am personally getting you ready. You see, and ready for what? For what you've asked for. You see, you've asked me for something. And I know you've asked me for something because you have a desire that's in your heart that you can't do on your own. So you've asked me for it. And I know this because I give you the desires of your heart. I've given you a desire that you can't complete on your own, that you need me for, so that you will partner with me in order to allow that thing to be fulfilled. See, you've asked me for this thing. The thing is that you don't understand what comes with this thing. You don't understand what's waiting for you on the other side of this thing. I do. So let me prepare you for it. Let me walk you into this thing. See, the Lord was talking to me in my private time with him, in my devotion time. And one of the things that he was telling me was that he was setting me up, y'all. He was setting me up so that I can withstand and endure all the great and mighty and heavy things he was going to bring me into in this next season. You see, you don't know what people are really made of. You don't know what's at the core of who people are until they have to endure hard, difficult times. That's when you get to discover, are they really about who they say? All these things they talk about, all these things they preach about, when you're back up against the wall, when you don't have nothing left, when you feel like all is lost, will you put those things into practice? Or are you just talking? Yeah, see, all that good stuff you got for everybody else, when it get hard, when it get difficult, when you feel like you don't want to, when you feel like you can't, when you feel like you can no longer, will you stay and endure and put into practice all of those things? You see, God will take us into these times of difficulty, these times of challenge, these times of hardship, because he wants to see what we'll do. Will you endure? It's not that God wants to see what we'll do because he doesn't know what we'll do. He wants to show us what we'll do. So I want to bring up a few things that people tend to do when it gets difficult, when it gets hard. And I'm not talking about, again, just a little bit of hard, a little bit of difficulty. I'm talking about the point where you are stretched beyond capacity and you can't take another second of this life. That's what I'm talking about. I'm all the way stretched to capacity. You're in a situation, or you've been in situations where you never thought you'd be in, where there is no reasonable explanation for why you are in the place that you're in, except you decided to follow God. Only certain people know what that is. Only certain people know what it's like. See, for God's chosen that chose to follow him, it's not that I can't. You better believe I could pick myself up and I could do X, Y, Z and come up with a plan to get me not just back on my feet, but to get me soaring. Amen. But because I've decided to follow God, I've surrendered and I allowed him to be able to do it his way, to be able to follow him. That means to bring me low so he can bring me high. And it's on his timeline and not mine. But see, as we're being brought low, there's some things that you'll discover. So some of the things discovered, and y'all tell me if this has been y'all case, but you'll discover you still have a plan B, that you haven't completely surrendered it, that you haven't completely given your life over to God, that even though you feel day to day that you're surrendered and you're seeking him and you're following him, God will put you in such a position of hardship that you'll be like, I need to start putting in my resumes. Yeah. I need to start applying for this loan. I need to do this. I'm about to go here. I'm about to talk to this person because I just can't do it. You telling God you sorry. It's been real, but you ain't going to be able to do what he wants you to do. And in that, God is showing you, I thought you were surrendered to me. See, I need you to be on the same page with me, because if you don't forever put this plan B away, if you don't forever set this plan B down, it will always be there in the background, and you will never be able to live up to the fullness that I have for you and the plan that I have for you, because you'll always be thinking in the back of your mind, push come to shove, I got a plan B. You see, we think our plan Bs are gone. You think you don't have one. Oh, but get to a point where God challenges you enough. Get to a point of hardship. Get to a point of difficulty. And you'll be scratching your head and telling God your goodbye. You be quitting God like, yeah. This right here, I'm not built for it. I'm not made for it. And God is desiring you even to get to that point to tell you, how can you tell me that you're not built for something and I built you? How can you tell me, hey Megan, how can you tell me that you can't endure the very thing I'm placing in front of you, and you don't even realize how I formed you. I'm not going to place anything on you that you can't handle. I've given you the measure of faith needed for you to do what you need to do. You're just not acting on it. You're just not activating that thing. You're just not leaning into that thing. I've given you the ability to do exactly what it is that I've called you to do. Hello, parable of the talents. There is nothing that's too hard for me. So if you're saying something's too hard, you're saying you're doing it without me. God will put you through the hardship and through the difficulty because the very real and you will come out. And these things need to be addressed before he moves you in to this next season of your life, into all that you've been asking for, into all that you've been desiring, into all that you've been yearning for. God is like, okay, I see that you want it. Let me prepare you for it. So here's another thing that God will show you, right? It's not just that the plan B is present. It's that it's still enticing to you. It's still tempting for you. It's still something that is a viable option that is calling you, right? Because it's right there, ready at the surface. And it's saying, come on, this is actually, come listen to this, a better option. So is your trust, is your faith truly in God? You see, why will it be tempting and enticing? Because you'll see a lot of things. You'll understand that you have not quite understood and laid hold to God's ways. See, you still want security. You still want safety. You want consistency. You want routine. You want to know. And God's like, this is not a season where you will have that luxury. This is not the life that I've called you to. This is not the Christian walk, the Christian way. You must deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. Do you understand? Peter was flogged. Do you understand? Paul was put in prison. Oh, God will never put me in unsafe positions. Baby, God sent Jesus to the cross. Do you not understand? That's amazing, Dan. Do you not understand what God is doing right now? Oh, God doesn't bring on hardship. God doesn't bring on difficulty. It pleased the Father to have his son bruised. Read the Bible. It was the flesh that was afflicted. And on the other side was glory. He loved us that much to do it. You see, when you go through hardship and difficulty, some of y'all are in this transition season where you don't know. You don't know even who you are. You don't know where you're at in this station of your life, because God has done so much with you. You have lost so much, and you're in the process of trying to figure out where you're at and what's going on and what's happening. You're in the process of trying to figure all of that out. And God is like, this is where I want you, because you're thinking that something's wrong with that. And what you don't understand is that's exactly where you're supposed to be. That means that you are no longer trying to come up with the plan. You are being still, and you are waiting for God to reveal his plan for you. You see, even though it may be frustrating or irritating, you have surrendered to the fact that it can't be me that orders the steps. I have to allow God to order this thing. I have to do it God's way. You see, I talked about this a little bit before, and that God will get you to a point where he's like, right here is where you need to be. No, not over there, not over there, right here. This is it. And then you don't get to tell me when we move here or there or there. You need to stay right here until I've asked you or I've told you to take another step and move further. See, this is my plan. This is not your plan. This is the plan that I have for you. You see, and it's not one of safety. It's not one of security. See, God is trying to expose these things that you really want and really desire so he can let you know for real, if you want these things, you don't want me. You don't want a life with me. You're not trusting and believing in me. If you feel like you want to keep your plan B there, that means you don't trust me. That means you don't have faith in me. That means you're not willing to endure this process with me. If you want safety, if you want security, if you want all that, you better read your Bible, Old Testament and New Testament, baby. For both of these things, right? For both of these things. And that's exactly what God is trying to get us to do, right? Megan, it gotta be by my strength. It can't be by you. But if I can get to a point where you're weak enough, and you'll cling to me, my strength will be revealed through you. It's another reason why he brings us through hardship, right? Sometimes in our hardship, when it gets really hard, we come to understand that it's not only our needs we want met, but we want all of our wants met. We mad because God not meeting all of our wants. And God's like, we should have already surpassed your wants. We should have surpassed that a long time ago. I want you to kill the need. That's what I want. I want you that if I tell you to give up food, that you'll give up food, because I need you to fast, because I need to consecrate you. I need you to give up your need for sleep, because if somebody needs your help and is on the brink of suicide and I need you to speak to them, I need you to give that up. I need you to give up your need for money and resources. And how can you do all that? Because I need you to trust that I will meet all of your needs according to my riches and glory in Christ Jesus. But you still focused on all your wants. You mad because you don't have the house you want and the car you want, and you don't have the people you want, and you talking about all of these wants. You see, and when we get in the hard and the difficult places, we start coming up with more and more wants, and it makes us want to leave God and his plan for us, or it makes us want to walk away from the things that God has planned for us, and being willing to surrender and walk with him because we want to pursue those wants. And who is it that's enticing us with the wants, right? We get the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, which is of this world, and the ruler of this world is Satan. It's Satan that's enticing us with all of these wants. So he's like, if you don't get past your wants, and even to the point where you kill your needs, do you know that Satan still has power over you? He still has power to be able to manipulate and control you with your wants. So when I start bringing you into all that I have for you, guess what? Satan can now, all he has to do is dangle these things in front of you, and he can tempt you. You see, you're not tempted by what you don't want. You're tempted by your desires. So if you get blinded by all of your desires, you can easily shift and then walk away from what it is that I have for you, because it can't be your desires that motivate you. It can't be your wants that drive you. You can't work off of urges and impulses. You have to give all of that up and embrace my will for your life, which means you have to be willing to give up your own. But see, in hardship, these things are exposed. You know, another thing that the Lord puts us through hardship for is because he wants us to see within ourselves that we're only able to suffer to a certain point. We're only willing to suffer to a point. Y'all know what that's like. Y'all know that y'all have tried to be on this path to do the right thing in God, for God, as God desires, and you know there's some suffering taking place. Okay, now this thing is of God. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. Why is it so hard? Oh, because the Lord tells us in the Garden of Gethsemane, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So the more we get into our flesh, and we have to crucify that flesh, in the process of that suffering is taking place. And then we realize sometimes in the hardship that we're only willing to suffer to a point. That we like, I'll take the hard, but when it gets hard, Once when it gets too hard, I'm out. God wants to see how far will you go. Will you be willing to go all the way with me? You see, Jesus was obedient all the way to the cross, all the way to the point of death. You wearing the title of Christian. You want to live in the image and likeness of Christ. Are you willing to be obedient and willing to endure to the point of death, to the point of cross? God will push you because do you understand that is the power of the cross, is that Jesus defeated death through the power of God. You have to see that. I need you to be able to defeat this suffering, this death, so it has no hold over you anymore. See, that's your breakthrough. That's speaking to me right now. You don't understand because God will put you to a point where you're suffering and you don't realize that the suffering is the point of breakthrough if you can endure and yield to it. And I mean to a point where you just say, I know my back's against the wall. I'm sweating. It's hard. Every cell of my being is crying out. I cannot do this a second longer. But if you can only endure, that is your breakthrough that you're looking for. Woo! Some of y'all are looking for a dollar bill in your account to say the breakthrough has happened. Some of y'all are looking for the ministry position and you're like, oh, that's my breakthrough. It'll happen. Some of you all are looking for the husband. You're looking for the wife. You're looking for the home, the car, the status, the validation from the world, from the Christian community. And you think that that is your breakthrough. You don't understand the real breakthrough that God desires you to have is to break through the point of suffering so it no longer has a hold on you. Woo! It's the flesh that suffers. It is not the spirit. It is the flesh. And if I can overcome this flesh, if I can endure this flesh being crucified, oh, if I can withstand the crucifixion, that's the breakthrough. That's when God says, you're ready. Woo! The only way you can do that is surrender to God. You can't do that in your own strength. You can't do that in your own power. It is only by his spirit that the breakthrough can happen. And God is like, until you learn the lesson, this is the lesson. This is what is going to continue to repeat itself because you keep trying to find ways to wiggle out of it. You keep trying to find ways to sidestep it. You keep trying to find ways to go around it. God don't call you to a fast and he don't call you to a long fast and you fasted for 3 hours and said, okay, I ain't gonna be able to do it. God told you to leave that man, to leave that woman behind, and you still chasing them down, still texting them when it get hard, when it get weak. God don't told me this is a season for me and you chasing after a man, you chasing after a woman, and he's telling you this is my season to get you right. God is trying to get you through a point to where you release all, to where you surrender all, because that's when the breakthrough happens. Come on, people. Oh, that was good to me because it helps me understand why God continues to put us into places of difficulty, places into hardship. Some of y'all don't understand. I said this a little bit earlier, but it's the congratulations. And I want you to come back to that and remember that because if you think about it in your life, some people have been through this whole list, but some people have only experienced one or two things. Okay. But some of y'all, God done took you away from your home. It was hard in the beginning when he did it, but now you good. He done took you away from your friends. He said, that's enough. They not of me. They are actually hindering you from the things of me. They gotta go. Sheila, she messy. Let's go. He don't took you away from your friends. And it was hard in the beginning, but you did it. Past. Some of y'all, God has removed jobs from you, finances from you. You did it. You survived. Some of y'all, he done pulled you out of relationships. Oh, marriages, baby. You did all right. You recovered. Some people have had to sleep in their cars. Some people have had to deal without food for days. Some people have went through so much of the most difficult times. And it's almost as though God is telling you what's left. Baby girl, baby boy, you don't pass. Yeah, see, you allowed me to do the work in you. You're allowing me to do the work in you to remove these addictions. I know it wasn't easy, but you're working through it, or you've worked through it. I've done released so much from you. I've removed so much from you. See, God could be asking you to do a real hard thing right now. And if that's your case, if that's where you are, I need you to look back from all the other things that God has asked you to do that is hard. You passed. You did it. So what is your reward? The next hard and difficult thing, because you've shown God that this don't faze you no more. Some of y'all real good. You like, I'm straight. I don't need him. I don't need them. I don't need her. I don't need it. So God's like, okay, let's move on to the next thing. Because the point is, are you willing to get your breakthrough? That's the point I'm trying to push you through. Don't you know, when the Lord defeated death, it's done. It's so done to the point where he stayed in the ground for 3 days. This ain't even fazing me. And when God is ready, he'll raise me. He'll lift me. Oh, that's where God is trying to get you to. Do you understand? So look at this. Another thing that we'll realize is that when it gets hard, we'll try to take back control. We'll try to take back control. When it gets hard, we'll say, okay, that's enough. You didn't do what I want to do, or you're not doing what I want you to do. So I'll take it from here. And God is like, that can't be the case, because you have to understand the world is full of enough people who have taken back control over what God has given them. Y'all see it. Y'all see these ministers, these pastors, these people that are in positions that are supposed to be doing good for God, that are running shelters, that are supposed to be serving the homeless, that are supposed to be serving the poor, that their whole situation is corrupt and motivated by who they are and what their needs and desires are. And it's no longer of God. They've taken back control. The things that they're doing, it don't even look right. It don't pass the eyeball test because they've taken back control. Not only that, we can see that if we try to do things our way by taking back control, we will never, ever be successful. The demand is too heavy. It's too weighty. And if we try to do it our own way, we will be crushed under the weight of it. So God is like, no matter how hard it gets, I can't have you taking back control. But when we're under this hardship, when we're under this difficulty, we'll understand, we'll see, yeah, that's my tendency. I want to take back control. So God is trying to show you that and reveal that to you so you can understand that I cannot move like that in this next season. So one of the other things he talked about was, you're not willing to stay with me when it gets hard. When it gets hard, you be like, deuces. I'm going to leave you where you're at. How many people have had that moment? I'm going to be honest. I've had that moment before where I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do it. Not going to be able to do it. I'm not. This situation right here, it's too much. It's too much. But then also what he was talking about is not only that, when it gets hard, you're willing to give up and abandon everything I've given to you. Come on, Megan. I know you know. You're willing to give up and abandon all that I've given to you. So there's certain things that I've set up. There's certain people that I've given you. There's certain tasks that I have you doing. Yeah, you know that I'm setting up a life for you, but the minute it gets hard, the things that don't serve you, you're willing to walk away from. When it gets, oh, I'm not doing that today. I'm not going there today. I'm not talking to them today. I'm not interacting. How can you do that? He's like, you cannot give up on the very thing, on the very people I've given to you when it gets hard, when it gets difficult. You know, some people, they'll just check out. God had to show me that at one point. He was like, you are willing to just check out and not do anything when it gets tired, when it gets hard, even if it's just for a moment or a day. And you have to stop that. People are depending on you. People are relying on you. And what you don't understand is God is doing that at this level for you, where it's small, because what he's going to bring to you, who he's going to bring to you in your future, this thing that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard and have not entered into the heart of man. When it's at this level, the pressure's going to be on. And if you can't withstand hard at this level and be willing to maintain at this level your relationship with me and what I have for you, what will happen when you have the world that's dependent on you? When you have my hurt souls that are dependent on you, that I'm bleeding to you, and you provide them with more rejection, more hurt. He's like, I got to get you to see these things now. This is why we go through difficulty. This is why we go through hardship. This is why we go through challenge. You see, this is why it has to be as hard as it is. It has to be as hard as it is, because I need you to be able to see what's in you that is not of me. I need you to see what your tendencies are. I need you to see who you really are. You see, we like to have this image of ourselves that we're this way or that way. And sometimes you don't even know who you are until the pressure is on, because pressure busts pipes. And God is trying to show you, before I walk you fully into this next season, until I bring you in to what's there, you think that you've arrived. You think that you're good. I need to expose to you those cracks that are in the structure so we can get those things together. You see, I need to get you so full of me, because I'm the rebar that's going to strengthen your life, your whole entire being. You see, I need you to rely on me and cling to me, but I need you to get real about you. So you know what your weaknesses are. So you know where your deficiencies are at. So you can lean on me to help you overcome this. See, this is a very practical thing. For some reason, we like to think that God is a magic genie and he's going to puff the magic dragon and all of a sudden you're going to be this super spiritual individual. These are very practical things. God is like, I'm taking you through situations so I could show you you. And then as I show you you, I need you to allow me to work with you to help you to overcome those things. I need to make it so that you have staying power, so that you have endurance. That's what we're working on in this season. And until I can get you to a point of suffering that you break through that and you no longer want to run and quit and give up and raise the white flag, I can't take you into what I have for you, because there's too much on the line. You see, I'm not in a rush. I exist in time and outside of time and within time. It is all at my control, all at my demand. I love you too much to walk you into something that you're not ready for, that's going to crush you, that you're not prepared for. So guess what? It's taking a little bit more time than what you would like, because I need you ready. I need you surrendered. I need you in this thing ready to be able to handle all that it is that I'm giving you. So what will happen is you're looking at this thing as God doesn't like me. God has something against me. God doesn't love me. All God has to offer me is hard. No, it's in my love that I offer you the training that you're needed in order to be successful in the very things that your heart keeps asking me for. These are the whispers of your soul that I am responding to. And if you allow me to be able to continue to train me and not dictate how that training goes, not say it's too much, not right now, I can't. If you just go with me, it requires surrender. Ask me for help with surrender. We can continue to move forward, but I'm not trying to repeat another cycle with you. Okay. I'm not trying to go back to yesterday and did what we do yesterday. I'm not trying to create more of the you that's always existed. I am trying to bring you into the version of you that I've created. So it cannot be you and your understanding that we lean on in this season. In fact, you need to not lean on it, and you need to abandon it, and you need to be able to surrender to me to lay hold of the new thing that I'm doing. See, you don't know what it is that I have for you. You don't know what it is that's waiting for you on the other side, that's coming for you, but I do. Let me prepare you for it. Let me get you ready for it. Oh, I know exactly the Alpha and Omega. I know exactly what you're about to walk into. You are not the first person that I don't built up for a thing of this magnitude, of this way. I know what I'm doing. You don't. So if you can surrender to me and allow me to prepare you for it. See, you want me to prepare you at a luxury spa. Now I'm taking you into the trenches. I'm grooming you. I'm preparing you in the pit, in the prison. See, you keep asking to be moved to the palace. You're not ready to run all of Egypt yet. Do you see? It's not that Egypt is not waiting for you, that leadership position. It's not that it don't got your name on it. Who else going to do the interpretation? Yeah, that I positioned you for. It's there, but you're not ready for it yet. There's a process to get you there. Stop dictating your process. Stop trying to tell me how to do your process to get you to where you don't even know you're going. To do what you don't even know what you're going to do. At what point do you realize it is not going to be of you, but of me? You see, it goes back to the scripture. You don't know what you are asking. Can you drink from the cup that I drink from? Let me get you ready, because here's what you're thinking. Look at this. You're thinking about riches. You're thinking about celebrity. You're thinking about homes. You're thinking about cars. You're thinking about people and interviews and books and the ministry and generational wealth and businesses. That's what your sight is on. So you like, I'm ready. I've been asking myself questions and pretending like I'm in the interviews. I don't figure out how I'm going to pack my house, how I want my house to be. I don't figure it out what I'm going to use my car for. I'm going to use it so I can do the ministry. Like, I got it. I'm ready. I have to consider the demand of what I'm bringing you into. It will not be easy. It is heavy. It is heavy. It is costly, right? Will you be able to withstand it? Will you? He's like, then show me. If you can withstand the weight and the magnitude of all that I am getting ready to bring, show me. Endure. Endure the hard at this level so that I can graduate you and bring you to the hard of the next level. You see, you keep looking and focusing on the blessings. You're not focusing on the demand. Are you really ready for the demand? You see, with you crying and you frustrated and you getting irritated and you shaking your fists and doing all that stuff, you showing me, all you're doing is showing me you're not ready. You're not ready, because listen to this. The Lord was talking to me this morning and he was like, this is all the stuff that you're going to have to endure. He said, you're going to be busy. And this was real key. This busy one was so key. I want to stay on it for a second. You're going to be busy. See, what you don't understand is you're going to be a different level of busy. I mean, a different level of busy. And I am making you busy right now so you can understand how to be able to be busy, but still remain in me. How can you have calm and peace and rest in midst of the busy? You see, it's not just what you do. It's how you do it. A mentor of mine told me that the other day. It's not just what you do. It's how you do it. Have you ever been to the point where you've been working for the Lord, you've been working for your house, you've been doing everything that you're supposed to do, but it's had this on it to where there was no peace? You felt nervous and anxious, and you had to move on to the next thing, and then the next thing, and to the next thing. God doesn't want you working like that in this season. That'll break you. That'll kill you. He's like, I want to expose you to a level of busy now so you understand how I want you to operate in a state of busyness. I need you being rested and assured of me. You see, the reason why you're so busy and you're feeling that way, anxious and all of that stuff, is because there's still fear attached there. There's fear and doubt that you'll be able to do it and do it successfully. You're in the race to try to get everything done. And it'll kill you because there's so much to do in this season. So that's why God continues to place so much on you, to where he's like, no, there's no time for extended naps. Go take you a quick power nap. Get back up. Get back to work. You're up at 4 o'clock in the morning and you just with the Lord. Or by the time you get up, you just with the Lord all day, and he got you busy. He's trying to expose you to a demanding work schedule because of this. The next one is people will be demanding of you. People will be demanding of you. See, it's not just you, because some of y'all, God has an isolation season right now, and it's just you and God. You're just fulfilling the demands of you and God. Maybe he has you in a place where you're also meeting the demands of your children or your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Maybe not. But in any case, the demand on you right now is only so much. That's why God is placing a heavy demand on you so you can get used to demand, because when he puts you in position, the world is going to be demanding. People are going to be pulling and tugging at you. You better believe when God exposes the gift that he put in you, that people are going to want access to that gift before their own personal gain. You got to get that for their own personal gain. It ain't going to be to strengthen and edify you. It ain't going to be for you. It's going to be for them. So they are going to be in demand of what you have. So can you handle that? Because it's going to come from all over. And there's things that you're going to have to do. And he's teaching you that right now to be able to withstand the weight of demand. Some of y'all, he's sent through a process. And if he hasn't, you need to ask for help with that to create boundaries. So another thing he said is, you will find it difficult to maintain relationship with me. When I send you into this next season, you have to understand that there's going to be so much happening that it's going to be hard for you to remain in me, because people are going to be constantly pulling at you. And if you will allow it, your focus is going to be diverted on the natural and what's in front of you, and not the spirit of me that's within you and being driven by me, but being driven by the world, the current that's pulling you to them. It's going to be difficult to keep your focus on what's within instead of without. It's going to be challenging for you to be spirit-led and not man-led. So he is placing this demand, this hardship, this heaviness on you, so that no matter what comes to you, you continually draw on his spirit for strength and on support and for leading and for wisdom, and not give that authority over to the world. He says, you will feel out of sorts. You will feel out of sorts with your new identities, new roles, and new success. You're not going to feel the same. You see, I know for myself, I have this thing where I always want to stay in the Lord and I don't want to get lost in it. But he doesn't want me to reject what he has for me. So for a lot of y'all are going to be off balance because you're going to be adorning an identity that's true to you, to what God created you to, but you are personally not used to it. You're personally not used to operating in that way. The roles that he's asking you to fulfill, the success he's bringing to you, you're just not going to be used to it. And you're going to feel out of sorts. But he's like, even that is a weight in itself that I need you to endure. And that's so good because the Lord is speaking to me right now and letting me know. You see, some of y'all are in a transition phase. And in that transition phase, like I said earlier, you don't know who you are or where you're going because you're surrendered and you're allowing God to reveal that to you. Do you know this is training? Because when he brings you into the new role, when he brings you into the new identity, you're not necessarily going to be comfortable in that right away. It's going to take time, if it ever happens, to where you fully get settled in it. You're going to have a level of surrender again in God to be able to do that. That's why he's practicing your ability to working on you to be able to develop your ability to surrender to him, because that's what it'll take. But you'll be off balance. But he's showing that to you now, that it's okay as long as your surrender is in him. You're going to feel guilt. You're going to feel guilt because you've left some people behind. God told you they can't come with you in this next season, and you're going to have so much success in this next season that you're going to have guilt. And he needs you to understand and be prepared for that guilt, because he doesn't want you to take that guilt and try to bring people along with you that are never meant to come, because all they will do is take and hinder. And that's why they were not able to come with you in the first place. He says you will have the devil that's coming after you. Oh yeah, you're going to have an enemy that wants to fight you. You gotta know, you set your heart on God, the devil is setting his whole being on you and all of the fallen angels to try to bring you outside of God. There's going to be traps. Yes, your adversary, the devil, will be on the prowl looking for you. Are you starting to see all of these things that you're going to have to deal with that are heavy? That if you don't take those things into consideration, you won't allow God to be able to have the time to be able to prepare you for it, because you're just focused on the blessings. You're not focused on all the things that are coming. And because God knows all of these things, and all I'm doing is mentioning a few here, he knows all the things you will encounter. He's like, if it takes another month, if it takes another 6 months, if it takes another year to prepare you for this, I know that I'm willing to do it because I love you. Because I love you. And I don't want you to fail at this. You see, he also says you will have critics. It's going to be challenging enough for it is. All those things that I've told you are challenging enough. You are going to have Christians that feel like they are rooted and grounded in Christ, and they are going to come after you in such a way in which you will see Satan all over them. They are going to critique your every move. Your every move. They're going to have something to say. You will not. It's a guarantee. You will not be able to please everyone. And those people you won't please, they're going to be very vocal about their displeasure. You better believe it. Those people that want you to do things their way, do what they way, and in 2 months, they're going to want you to do it another way, because they want you to follow them and not God. It's the devil that's trying to lead you away from how God is having you do something and wanting you to get off the track. Oh, you're going to have critics. You're going to have critics. You're going to have people that come against you. Some people, you got to understand, their whole livelihood is going to be based on critiquing you. Look at all the social media stuff. Look at news outlets. All these people that their livelihood, their jobs are dependent on not just highlighting the good, but on highlighting the negative. Will you be able to withstand all the attacks? You see, because I've sent some people, I've allowed some people, let me say it that way. I've allowed some people to attack you. And because I did, I saw you. You were ready to give it all up. Can you withstand it? He says, you will have trouble. I believe this is the last one. You will have trouble balancing ministry that I've given you and your kids and your spouse. See, they're going to be a demand all of themselves. Your kids, your spouse, your family, your home. Taking care of yourself. And you're going to have the weight and magnitude of what I'm about to bring you into. You see, I hope looking at all that helps you to be able to embrace the hardship that God has you in. It's preparing you. Do you understand? All the psalmist says, I was made in the secret place. See, God has you in the secret place, and he's making you through hardship, through suffering, through challenging you. Will you let him make you? Will you take your focus off of what you don't have and ask God, what is it that you're doing in this? Because I know if you wanted me to have it, I would have it. So why don't I? What do you want me to learn? What do you want me to do? You see, the Lord had to tell me, he had to say, what else can I take from you? What else can I do? He had to remind me of all the things that we've been through. Jennifer, I done removed and took so much from you. And yet here you are. You're still serving me. I want to phrase this in a way that directs it to you. I've taken so much from you. I have put you through so much. I have allowed so much to get to you. I have allowed so much to have access to you. I have put you through your Job season. And yet here you are. You're still serving me. And it's authentic. You're still loving me. And that love is real. You're still serving me. And it's genuine. It's for me, to glorify me. I have allowed you to endure so much, and yet here you are. What else is there left to do? That's why God is bringing you into the new hard thing. It's on a whole new level. I know you can't consider it. I know you're upset. I know you're frustrated. I know you downright pissed off. But God is like, what else are we going to do? You don't survived it all. You don't show me that's not a thing for you. And if you have to go back into that situation, it's not going to be as heavy as it was before. It's not going to mean that it doesn't affect you. It's going to mean that because you've been through it before, you have this level of detachment and this level of understanding that you can endure. So now what? I got to bring you into the next level, and you don't understand, Jesus. The next level of hard also comes with the next level of blessing. Because if you can endure the next level of hard, I can trust you with the hard, that you will not abandon, that you will not leave in the hard. So I can bring you the next level of blessing. Because I can trust you with the hard, now I can trust you with the blessing. I'm not going to give you the blessing and let's wait and see what you do with it so you drop and fumble the blessing. No, I really want you to be blessed by it. So if you're rejecting the hard, do you know you're rejecting the blessing? That's like your kids. Anybody that had kids that's going to college or that's going through a difficult thing, they like, oh, I don't want the difficult thing. Oh, then you don't want the good thing. You don't want to be up late at night studying and doing notes and having to be at class. You don't want the degree then. Just say that. You don't want the opportunities that come with having a degree. Do you understand? That's the reason why people don't go out and get degrees, because there's a demand it places on you and people aren't willing to pay the cost to meet that demand. Yeah, you don't want to give up your late nights. You don't want to give up your time. You don't want to give up your rest. You mad about it. If you don't want to do those things, you got to understand you don't want the education and all that comes with it. You see, what people don't know too is these young adults that are going to school, they don't understand that once when they get that degree, they're set up for the rest of their lives. Nobody can take that degree from them. They don't understand how the world's perspective of them shifts because they have a degree. They don't realize the multitude of opportunities that come to them before they have a degree. Oh, catch this. This is good, y'all. It's real good. It's speaking to me right now. You don't understand that the people that don't have a degree versus the people that do have a degree, the level that those people have that have a degree are willing to operate on is totally different from those that don't. It's a whole nother world of opportunity that opens up. It's a whole nother level of understanding and human interaction when you have that degree that's placed behind you because you have been educated. You have come with the knowledge, worldly knowledge. Do you understand? You've gotten yourself to a place that's beyond where people that don't have a degree are. You're operating on a whole different level. You see, what God is telling you is that if you can endure this level of hardship that I'm taking you to, this next level of hardship, it promotes you, it catapults you into a whole different level that the people that are not willing to endure hardship will never get to. See, you're saying, oh, well, these people that don't even serve you, they don't even say your name, they don't worship you. You see, those people, why do they have it so good? And they're like, you think they have it good. You're not even going, they won't even be able to see you on the level where I'm taking you. They won't have any words to be able to articulate the level that I'm about to place you on. You see what I'm saying? It's like you don't want the very thing that God is using to catapult you to where he's trying to take you. It's to the next level. You want the blessing, but you don't want the preparation to be able to withstand the blessing. So God told me this, and God tells you this too. When you're ready, let me know. When you're ready to go to the next level of your life that I have for you, let me know. I'm not going to force this one on you because I tried and you keep running. I know my daughter, I know my son, you keep giving up. I need your full participation. This one right here, to enter into this next level, we're entering into this in covenant because I want to obligate you to this thing because I'm obligated to you and I need you to meet me at the level of commitment and obligation that I have. And you can only do that through me and in me and with me. I need you to be on the same page as me that this good thing I started in you, we're going to complete. This word I spoke over you, I'm going to watch it over until it's fulfilled. Yeah. I need you to meet me at that level, that no matter what happens, you will let this good work be completed, that you will endure, that you will withstand, that you will maintain. See, I need you all in. I need you all in. When you are ready, when you are ready, you let me know. Just know, there's nowhere else for us to go but the next level. There's nothing here. You beat the game. Okay, you passed. you beat the game of Mario. You gonna stay in the first one, or you gonna move on to the next Mario? What you gonna do? you won. We don't see it that way because we just like, oh, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I want to go. This life doesn't look like what's indicative of this. Is what I was telling the Lord. I'm gonna just be honest. Okay, I asked the Lord, can I tell you? I'm like, I don't work too hard. This life right here is not indicative of the work that I don't put in my whole life. It is not indicative of my knowledge, skills, and ability. It is not indicative of who I am. It is not reflective of me and my character. It is so far beneath me. And God is like, that's exactly why I have you there. Because this next season ain't about you. I don't want you to be reflected in this next season. I want me to be reflected. And don't you know, the Son of Man, I did not have a place to even rest my head. So now you're in the likeness of me. Oh, he's speaking to me right now. That convicted. That hit a little bit. I'm going to have to go back. So he says, he's like, let me teach you. Let me teach you. Let me teach you exactly what you need so that you can be prepared for this next season of your life. It's not going to be cute. It's not going to be comfortable. But if you allow me to do it, I will walk you through your breakthrough. Not just two. I will walk you through your breakthrough. Just let me. And it's one of those things where we have to challenge ourselves in God. We really have to challenge ourselves in God, because you can get complacent in this walk and you can get comfortable in this walk. And you could find yourself having, for some, and I don't want to say yourself, because if you're watching this video, I don't believe that's been your station in life. I just don't. I believe God's called you to this video for a reason. But there are some people that are still talking about their spiritual walks the same way they did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They still got the same spiritual philosophy, ideology, whatever you want to call it. They're still saying the same stuff because they settled in it, and they're not having new experiences in God, and they're not surrendered to God. This God is doing a new thing. If you're surrendered to the Lord is doing a new thing with you today. He desires to. We should be growing and challenging ourselves in God, realizing that it may be too hard for me, but there's nothing too hard for God. So if I can surrender to God, then I can very well do this thing that God is calling me to. Now I gotta ask you, how do you feel now about the hardship that you're going through? Do you see it in a different way? Are you able to say, okay, God, I'm ready? It's not because God doesn't love you. It's because he loves you. God, the host of armies, the host of the living armies, is making a warrior. Yeah, he's making a warrior out of you. And when I say that, some of y'all know exactly what it means. It feel like you went part of the 300. Yes, it do. That you were Spartan. Do you know God had me watch that movie? Because he was like, that's what I'm doing with you, Jennifer. They left that boy to die. They said either you come back or a king or you come back dead. God is telling you, I'm putting you through this because on the other side of death, your crucifixion is life. If you lose your life, you will find it. I am crucified with Christ. So it is Christ who lives in me. Can you be crucified? See, what you've done is you've had light affliction. Can you be crucified for my name? There's life. There's life to be gained after you lose it. See, there's so many different levels to surrender, so many different levels to losing our life. And we don't know. We don't know. Only God can reveal to us the next level that we need to go through. And I believe that it'll be to a point to where we're crucified, but this flesh is going to always come back up. Because we all fall short of the glory and none of us are righteous. Not one. And he desires for us to catch the lesson so that when we need to call back on that lesson so that we can come back to a point of surrender, we can renew our minds, we can surrender afresh to him, which is what this is all about. I'm hearing in my spirit that I'm done. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that y'all came to join me here today. I appreciate it. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate you being able to be here in the room today. I hope that you were blessed by what it is that God laid on my heart for me to give to you all. Aziza, hi. How you doing? It's been real. It's been real. Look at your hardship from a different perspective. It's all happening under God's control. It's all happening under God's purview, and he's using it all. So my prayer for you, my prayer is that, that God strengthen you to be able to endure your hardship. That God give you revelation so that you have an understanding of what he's doing in it. But that he inclines your heart so that you surrender to it. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I'm glad you're doing good, Aziza. All right, y'all. If y'all don't have nothing else for me, I'm going to go ahead and head on out this morning. The more I fall in love with God, the more I fall in love with you. So I love y'all. Y'all take care, all right?